Hey everyone, my name is Scott Mantz and welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversations at Home program. Before we're joined by our guest today, just wanted to let you know that the SAG-AFTRA Foundation is a nonprofit organization that relies entirely on donations to provide emergency assistance and free educational programs to SAG-AFTRA artists. This conversation is made possible thanks to the generosity of our supporters. Now, over the last year, the foundation has given nearly $7 million in COVID relief to more than 7,000 performers. So if you're a SAG-AFTRA artist and you need help, please ask. And if you can help, please give. The information can be found in the description of this video just below. And thank you for your support. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce actor Amir Jadidi and translator Rayan Farzad for the fantastic movie, A Hero. Welcome, gentlemen. It's so great to be here with both of you.
Thank you. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
So, Amir, I would love to hear how this film first came about for you.
وقتی که آقای فردی این فیلم هم پیشنهاد دادن و من رفتم دفترشون و راجع به این کاراکتر و راجع به داستان با من صحبت کردن.
When Mr. Farhadi asked me to do this role and I went to his office and he talked about the character and the story.
خب اولین مواجهه من با این کاراکتر و این داستان بود و
That was my first approach to the character and the story.
و ذره ذره از فیزیک من آقای فرهادی شروع کردن که باید تغییراتی رو توش میدادیم.
And then we gradually, Mr. Farhadi started working on my physics, my body, and we slowly went from there.
که خب من به هر حال فیزیکم خیلی برای این نقش مناسب نبود به خاطر اینکه من اون موقع داشتم یه فیلمی رو بازی می‌کردم که مجبورم برای اون فیلم یک مقدار از وزن خودم هم بالاتر باشم و مدل ورزشی داشته باشم.
So because at the time when Mr. Farhadi asked me to go to his office, I was doing another film, and for that film I had to be even more fit, and I have more muscles, and my weight was even higher than usual.
و با توجه به مشخصاتی که از کاراکتر به من گفتن من مجبور شدم که حدود 10 کیلو وزن کم بکنم، ولی خب چون من اصولا ورزش میکردم و خیلی اضافه وزنی نداشتم مجبور بودم که ماهیچه بسوزونم.
And then I managed to bring my weight down for 10 kilograms, but because I usually I do a lot of exercise, and I didn't have any fat, I had to burn some muscles.
و فکر میکنم اگر بخوام قدم اول و اولین مواجهه هم با نقشو بگم همین بود که شروعش برای من این بود که من 10 کیلو وزن کم کردم که بتونم از نظر فیزیکی وارد اون کاراکتر بشم.
And if I want to talk about my first contact to the character is that I had to lose 10 kilograms to get closer to the role.
So my question is, once you got past like the physical preparation, losing the weight and everything, what were your points of connection? How did you relate to Rahim and understand him to connect with playing the character?
با توجه به توضیحاتی که آقای فرهادی در مورد این کاراکتر به من دادن، خب ایشون میگم از فیزیک من شروع کردم. وقتی که من فیزیکم به اون حد نصابی که مد نظر ایشون بود رسید.
So basically, as I said, with all the information that Mr. Farhadi told me, as I said, we started with losing my weight and getting my body close to the character. And when we get there, after that.
بعدش ما در مورد خود کاراکتر و رفتار کاراکتر و خصوصیات کاراکتر با هم صحبت کردیم، یعنی آقای فرهادی بیشتر با من صحبت کردن و این توضیحات رو دادن.
After that, we started talking about the character itself, its character traits, its attitudes, and Mr. Farhadi tried to open up the character for me.
و اون زمانی بود که من هنوز فیلمنامه رو نخونده بودم و آقای فرهادی دوست داشتن که خودشون در مورد کاراکتر برای من توضیح بدن و بعد من فیلمنامه رو بخونم.
That was a time that I haven't read the script yet, and Mr. Farhadi wanted to talk about the character to me first and then give me the script to read.
باعث شد که با توضیحات آقای فرهادی و نکاتی که میگفتن و درهایی که برای من باز میکردن که من این کاراکتر رو بهتر بشناسم ارتباطم رو با کاراکتر برقرار کنم.
And after that, with the informations and analysis that Mr. Farhadi gave me, it opened the doors for me to get closer and understand the character better.
Excellent, excellent. So, like when it came to working with actors who were professional and also actors who were not professional, in other words, if they were not actors, what were the challenges for your performance, for you to deliver a performance working with non-professional actors?
خب قطعاً بازی در مقابل بازیگران حرفه‌ای خب با نسبت به بازی در مقابل بازیگران که حرفه‌ای نیستن و کار اولشونه یک مقدار فرق کنه. ولی خدا رو شکر این بازیگرانی که ما داشتیم و کار اولشون بود چون بازیگران تئاتر بودن.
Well, definitely working with actors who are professional, working in front of actors who are professional is different from working in front of actors who are not professional. But because most of the actors in the film were the theater actors,
از بازیگری خب میدونستن، یعنی اینجوری نبود که ندونن، ولی خب ما کاراکتری هم داشتیم که بازیگر نبود و هیچ اطلاعاتی در مورد بازیگری نداشت، حتی بازیگر تئاتر هم نبود. خب یک مقدار کار کردن با این بازیگرا مخصوصا برای آقای فرهادی سخت بود، ولی خب با کنترلی که آقای فرهادی روی اینها داشتن خب توی بازی کردن منم به من خیلی کمک میکرد، یعنی توی کار منم برای من ساده میکرد.
So they had some information about acting, but we had characters that they were not completely non-actors. So working with them was very different, and especially for Mr. Farhadi was kind of hard as well, working with the non-actors. But at the same time, with the control that he had over the performances, it helped a lot, and I managed to work with them as well. آخرتون امیر جان، جمله آخرتون من فراموش کردم. خیلی جمله آخرتون
گفتم با توجه به کمکی آقای فرهادی و مدیریتی آقای فرهادی روی بازی این بازیگرایی که خب حالا بازی نکردن داشتن، خب یه مقدار فشار از روی من برداشته میشه.
And because of the control that Mr. Farhadi had over the actors, the pressure was lifted off from me.
What kind of a director is Asghar Farhadi? Like how did he compare to other directors that you've worked with?
خب آقای فرهادی به نظر من یکی از خصوصیات خیلی خوبی که دارن اینه که به جزئیات خیلی توجه میکنن.
One of the Mr. Farhadi as a director, one of the characteristics that he has is that he really pay a lot of attention to details.
یعنی خب علاوه بر این که به اصل داستان بسیار اهمیت میدن و فوکوسشون روی اصل داستانه، همون اندازه هم که به اصل داستان اهمیت میدن روی جزئیات هم کار میکنن که من فکر میکنم این تا حدودی باعث یکی از عللی که شاید حالا بعضی از کارگردان‌ها حالا بیشتر روی اصل داستان بپردازن تا جزئیات، این فکر کنم یکی فرقی که آقای فرهادی میتونن داشته باشن با بقیه کارگردان‌ها و تمرکزی که روی فیلمنامه و بازی دارن.
So as much as Mr. Farhadi has focused about overall story arcs, he has the same amount of attention to the details in every moment of the film. And I think, like compared to some other filmmakers who just mostly think about the overall arc of the story, I think that's one thing that makes Mr. Farhadi different from other directors that I work with. And at the same time, he's very much in control of the acting and the script.
Mr. Farhadi's two of his films won Academy Awards for Best International Feature. They are The Salesman and A Separation. So, like when it came to shooting a hero, how many takes did Mr. Farhadi usually ask of you and your fellow actors?
خب خیلی بستگی داشت به سکانس و بستگی داشت به بازیگرایی که توش بازی میکنن. خب یک وقتی هستش که بازیگرایی که در مثلا یه سکانسی بود که خب بازیگر حرفه‌ای توش کمتر داشت.
So it really depends on the scene and the actors that were acting in the scene. For example, there was a scene in the film that had گفتین چند بازیگر زیاد داشت.
مثلا این تا اینجا خوبه. مثلا یه سکانسی بود که مثلا اکثر بازیگرا توش خب مثلا بازیگر حرفه‌ای نبودن، یعنی بازیگرایی بودن که دفعه اولشون جلوی دوربین میومدن. خب قطعا کارشون سخت‌تره تا یه بازیگر حرفه‌ای بخواد بازی کنه، به خاطر همین ممکن بود که تعداد برداشت بیشتر باشه.
So for example, there are scenes that all the actors in the scene are non-actors. Therefore, it was harder to get the ones the acting that you need. So they might go like a couple of more takes on those scenes.
So when it came to the unique challenges for you to make this movie, what were the unique acting challenges for you compared to the other films that you've done?
این نقش هیچ ارتباطی به من نداره، یعنی فکر میکنم من هیچ خصوصیت مشترکی با این نقش نه از نظر فیزیکی نه از نظر منتالی ندارم.
So this role is extremely far away from who I am, both mentality wise, characteristic wise, and by the physics.
یعنی من برای این فیلم هم باید وزنمو کم میکردم، هم باید مدل صحبت کردنم عوض میکردم، هم باید مدل بادی لنگویجم عوض میکردم، هم باید مدل رفتارم عوض میکردم، هم باید تایپ حرف زدنم عوض میکردم، علاوه بر این که صدامم باید عوض میکردم. یعنی من از این جایی که صحبت میکنم نباید از یه جای دیگه باید صحبت میکردم که صدام تغییر بکنه.
And for this role, not only I had to change my weight, I had to change the way that I talk, I had to change my attitude, I had to change my personal characteristic. I had to change the style of the way I was talking, because not only I had to talk not from my diaphragm, like from my mouth, but also I had to change the way I was talking.
علاوه بر این خب چیزی که خب بینندگان یعنی تماشاگران خارجی اینو متوجه ممکنه نشن اینه که لهجه‌ای که من توی فیلم حرف میزنم خب یه لهجه دیگه است با توجه به اینکه ما لهجه‌های مختلفی توی ایران داریم.
Well, and on top of all of this, something else that maybe the foreign audience cannot understand is the accents in the film, because we have a lot of different accents in our country.
Mm-hmm. و این اکسنت این لهجه بسیار سختیه تو ایران. لهجه شیرازی لهجه‌ایه که یه مقدار ریزه‌کاری داره که واقعا صحبت کرد، یعنی شیرازی صحبت کردن یک مقداری سخت میکنه.
And this is an accent. It's very hard. It's a very hard accent. The Shirazi accent has lots of details in it that makes it very hard to speak with that accent.
این چیزایی بود که حالا به صورت کلی در مورد چیزای فیزیکی گفتم تا بیایم برسیم به خصوصیات اخلاقی این کاراکتر که میگم باز خیلی از من دور بود. شاید من مثلا آدم اگریسیوی باشم، ممکنه من آدم هایپر اکتیوی باشم. خب این کاراکتر هیچ کدوم از این خصوصیات رو نداشت، یعنی آدم بسیار ساده، بسیار ساکت و مدل حرف زدن و مدل رفتارش با دیگران خب خیلی فرق میکنه با همین.
And these are all the just physical things that I mentioned, but at the same time he's like, I'm probably myself, I'm like maybe an aggressive person, I'm actually maybe a hyperactive person, but this was a very character, very simple, very low key, and I had to change myself to get to those places as well.
و از اون طبقه‌ای که خب این بازیگر بود خب با طبقه من فرق میکنه.
And at the same time, the characters come from the class in the society that is different from the class that I'm coming from.
Yeah, I'm curious. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all. I want to speak more. That's all.
Yeah, I'm really curious because, while I was watching the film, my feeling about Raheem just kept changing. But one thing that was constant was like I was rooting for him. I felt bad for him. I felt like what was happening to him was not fair. So I'm curious, like, what did you think of Raheem? Did you think that he was getting a raw deal? Do you think that it was unfair what was happening to him?
خب به نظر من آدمایی که ما یه سری آدمایی داریم که به خاطر سادگیشون و خاطر اینکه این فن حرف زدن رو ندارن یا فن اینکه از خودشون به طوری که یعنی به طرز میخوان دفاع کنن.
So we have this kind of character because we have this kind of people who are, because of their simplicity, their naivete, and because they don't know how to defend themselves when they speak.
این به این معنا نیستش که اونا مقصرن یا بگیم که اونا نتونستن از خودشون دفاع بکنن. به خاطر خصوصیات اخلاقیشون یا به خاطر سادگیشون یا به خاطر اینکه توانایی ندارن که از خودشون به اون نحوی که باید دفاع بکنن.
So we can't say that because they can't defend themselves that they're wrong. It's just because they can't speak and defend themselves. They can't. It comes from their attitude. It's because of their simplicity.
اگه اطرافیان بتونن یه همچین چیزی رو درک بکنن، به نظر من خب اگر هر نتیجه بده اوکی، ولی وقتی اطرافیان رو درک نمی‌کنن و فکر می‌کنن که رحیم مقصره، خب نظر من رحیم مقصری، رحیم نمیتونه اونجوری که میخواد حرف بزنه، نمیتونه اونجوری که میخواد از خودش دفاع بکنه به خاطر سادگیش.
If people around him who understand what kind of person he is, therefore I don't think there would be any problem. But the only thing here, I don't think that Rahim has done any wrongdoing in this film. I feel like he just can't, protect himself. He can't really speak for himself.
Mm-hmm. So you filmed this movie in 2020. So my question is, what was it like making a film with Mr. Farhadi during a pandemic?
خب این به نظر من یکی از بدترین بخشای فیلم بود که همیشه ما باید به این داستان فکر میکردیم. خب آدم وقتی که داره فیلم بازی میکنه دوست نداره به هیچ چیزی به غیر از اون نقش فکر بکنه.
Well, this was one of the worst parts of making this film because it was serious, and when you're doing a film, when you're acting in a film, you don't want to think about anything else but your own work.
ولی خب متاسفانه به خاطر این داستان همیشه یه بخشی از ذهن ما درگیر این داستان بود و فقط داستان ترس از این که مریض بشیم نبود، ترس از این بود که اگر خب هر کدوم از ما مریض بشه ممکنه که کار متوقف بشه.
So it was always in the back of our head, and we had to be very cautious about it. But we were worrying about it not only because we didn't want to get sick, but also we did because if any of us would get sick, then we had to stop the production.
و این میشد چند تا مشکل، یعنی علاوه بر این که خب حالا مریض میشد یه نفر دیگه هم که بود مریض بشه، هم کار متوقف میشد، هم کلا این رشته افکار پاره میشد، خب خیلی صدمه میزد به فیلم.
And it would cause a couple of issues. Not only, one person would get it and get it to another person, and people would get sick, but then the production would stop as well, and then the flow of making of the film would completely stop and would ruin the film.
So how did all that go? Did you make it through okay?
بله خدا رو شکر به خوبی گذشت، ولی خب به هر حال یه وقته شاید بود که من احساس مریضی میکردم، شاید به خاطر مثلا تلقین بود یا به خاطر اینکه فکر میکردیم که حالا این بیماری هست. به هر حال این داستان بود، یعنی همیشه ذهن ما درگیر بود و وقتی آدم ذهنش درگیره و ممکنه مثلا هر کوچکترین اتفاقی آدم براش بیفته تلقین میکنه که نکنه که مریض شده، ولی خب ما تست میدادیم.
So yeah, thankfully we went through it without any issues. But sometimes I may, like, because I had this thing in the back of my head constantly, I was maybe felt like at moments that I'm sick. But when you are worrying about something all the time, anything that happens to you, you feel like, oh, maybe I got the sickness. So it's just like this belief, like the belief system of me that I was like thinking about maybe I just I'm getting this, but thankfully nothing happened.
اصولا وقتی خب من دارم یه نقشی رو بازی میکنم خیلی به اون نقش فکر نمیکنم، سعی میکنم اون آدمه باشم. یعنی اینجوری نیست که برم یه نقشی رو بازی بکنم و در طول بازی کردنم به اون نقش فکر بکنم، نه، من قبل فیلم میرم اون آدمه میشم و دیگه توی فیلم اون آدمو زندگیش میکنم.
But the thing is that while I'm making a film, I'm not thinking about the character. I have to add this. I'm not thinking about the characters. I become that character, and I try to live the life of that character. It's not as if like what I'm doing it, I'm constantly thinking about, okay, who's this character is. I've just become that character and I live his life.
So when when filming is over, because you're so immersed and so committed to your performance and you're living in that character, when filming is done, when it's a wrap, how do you let go of that?
من یه بار یه تئاتری بازی میکردم که توش 1 ساعت مونولوگ میگفتم، 1 ساعت و ربع مونولوگ میگفتم، یعنی باید یه سری حرفا رو و یه سری اسم بود همه رو حفظ میکردم.
Once before I did a play and I had to say a 1 hour and a half of monologue in that play and there was lots of names that I had to memorize.
و 60 شب اون تئاتر رو من اجرا کردم.
And I did that theater for 60 nights.
هیچ وقت یه بارم اتفاق نیفتاد که من مثلا جمله یا کلمه یا چیزی یادم بره.
It didn't happen even once that I forget a word or a sentence.
ولی شب آخری که من این تئاتر رو اجرا کردم و تموم شد، فرداش یه جایی بودم که پیش چند تا از دوستانم.
But the next night that after we're done, شب آخر گفتی یا فردای؟
وقتی که تئاتر تموم شد، یکی دو روز بعدش یه جایی بودم وقتی که کلا تئاتر تموم شد، یعنی 60 شبمون تموم شد.
But when the play was over, we finished all the 60 nights, I was somewhere with my couple of my friends.
یکی به من گفتش که اون قسمت تئاترتون که فلان چیزو میگفتی و میشه بگی، من یادم رفته و من هیچی یادم نبود.
And then he asked me, can you tell me about that part of the play that you were doing before? And I completely forgot. I couldn't remember anything from that play.
من فکر میکنم و این جواب سوال شما رو من اینجوری میخواستم بدم، من دقیقا نمیدونم چجوری از اون کاراکتر میام بیرون. شاید یه بخشی از کاراکتر توی جان من بمونه، ولی وقتی که تموم میشه و حالا با ورزش کردن یا هر چی این از بین میره و وارد یک کاراکتر دیگه میشم، میگم ممکنه یک مقدار از اون کاراکتر در جان من بمونه، ولی خیلی به این پروسه اشراف ندارم که چجوری این اتفاق میفته.
I just wanted to give you this example to answer your question, is that I really don't know how I get out of the character, to be honest. Probably part of that character stays in my soul, it stays in my mind all the time. But I really cannot tell you how I get out of the character, maybe with like exercise and stuff. But still, I believe that part of that character stays with me all the time. But it's really impossible for me to say how I get out of the character.
من فکر میکنم دقیقاً همونجوری که کاراکتر همونجوری که کاراکتر خودمو رها میکنم و وارد یک کاراکتر دیگه میشم، همونجوری همون کاراکتر رها میشه و وارد یک کاراکتر دیگه میشم.
I believe the same way that I just leave my own character and enter another character, it's the same way I get out of that character and come back to who I am.
So, I was wondering if you could just talk a little about the actors who play your fiance and your son.
خب اون خانومی که نامزد من بود که تا حالا این کار اولشون بود، یعنی اولین کارشون بود، ولی خب ایشون بازیگر تئاتر بودن. بله، به هر حال تجربه بازی در تئاتر رو داشتن و از بازیگری میدونستن. خب ایشون اینجوری بودن، ولی خب این خواهید تا اینجا شما بگید.
So the actress that did the role of my fiance, she was a theater actor, so she knew a little bit about acting.
ولی ببخشید یه لحظه قطع شد. ولی خب اون بچه کار اولش بود و اصلا بازیگرم نبود و به خاطر یه سری خصوصیاتش آقای فرهادی ایشون انتخاب کرده بودن.
But the kid was not an actor and it was the first time he's doing a film, and because of like some of his personal characteristics, Mr. Farhadi chosen him.
به خاطر همین یک مقدار خوب کار کردن با کسی که بازیگری مخصوصا هم بچه است، خب به هر حال سختی‌های خودشو داره، مخصوصا این که من پدرش بودم.
And working with an actor, especially a kid actor who hasn't done acting before, it comes with its own problems and issues, especially that I was acting as his father.
So, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay.
So, last question is, working with Mr. Farhadi, what makes him a great actor's director?
من فکر میکنم آقای فرهادی انقدر عاشق کاراکترهایی که خودشون میسازن هستن و انقدر اونا رو خودشون این کاراکترها رو با جون و دل حس میکنن.
I feel like Mr. Farhadi loves their characters he writes so much, and he understands them so deep inside that.
به خاطر همین خب توضیحی هم که برای بازیگر میدن خب خیلی توضیح خوبیه و خیلی میتونه مسیر رو برای من روشن بکنه که من چجوری باید خودم رو وفق بدم و چجوری باید اون کاراکتر رو زندگی بکنم.
So the way that he explains the characters to actors to me, it's so well done that I understand how I have to act for this character and how I have to live the life of this character.
و این عشقی که آقای فرهادی من به کاراکترشون دارن، این عشق رو منتقل میکنن به بازیگر. یعنی منم واقعا انقدر عاشق اون کاراکتر میشم که وقتی مثل اینکه یه نفر خودش رو چقدر دوست داشته باشه، وقتی این کاراکتر رو بازی میکنی همونقدر که خودت رو دوست داری اون کاراکتر رو بازی میکنی، چون اون کاراکتر در لحظه دیگه شمایی.
And he completely Mr. Farhadi transferred the love of the character that he has, the deep love of the character that he has to you as an actor. And you start to love the character the way that you love yourself. And how do you love yourself? That's exactly how you feel about the characters because of the way that Mr. Farhadi brings that love into you. And that helps you to act a lot.
One last question. What was the takeaway for you making this movie?
از نظر فنی بخوام بگم خب قطعاً بسیار از هیته بازیگری و سینما از آقای فرهادی یاد گرفتم.
If I would just want to say from technical point of view, I learned a lot from Mr. Farhadi about acting.
از نظر اخلاقی بخوام بگم به خاطر واقعا ویژگی‌های بالای انسانی آقای فرهادی خیلی ازشون یاد گرفتم و من واقعا اخلاق و انسانیت برام خیلی مهمتر از بازیگریه.
And from ethical point of view, I learned a lot from Mr. Farhadi. He's such a great person and great human being. And I have to say that ethics are way more important to me than acting.
Excellent.
به خاطر همین خب خیلی از این همکاری لذت بردم ولی اگر در مورد فیلم بخوام بگم که چه چیزی برای من خب میگم این فیلم به یه معضلی داره میپردازه که خیلی آدما میتونن با دیدن این یه درک جدیدی از این مشکل فرهنگی که وجود داره به دست بیارن که قطعا منم متفاوت نیستم از بقیه. من هم این درک رو باید به دست بیارم، باید از این فیلم یاد بگیرم.
And if I want to talk, so it was very enjoyable doing this film, but if I just want to talk about the film now, it's that this film talks about deeply about a very specific cultural issue that I think people by watching it can, understand it deeper. And I'm as a person like other people as well, and I have to learn a lot and I have to educate myself on the subject as well.
مشکل فرهنگی اجتماعی.
So the cultural and society problems, issues.
Well, thank you both very, very much for this incredible conversation. And A Hero is streaming now on Amazon Prime. Really, really terrific film. Absolutely watch it. Watch it a couple of times because you can do that because it's on Prime. So thank you, gentlemen, very, very much for this amazing SAG-AFTRA Foundation conversation at home.